Hi, I'm Laura Rolfe, host of Powered by Franchising and CEO of Mint Franchise Consultants. I'm here to talk to you today about business ownership and is business ownership right for you? You may or may not know that only 3% of the United States population are business owners. So it's a very small portion of people who are in business for themselves. And of those business owners, 10.8% of businesses are owned by franchisees. So we're going to delve in a little bit deeper on points to consider if you're thinking about business ownership for yourself, either starting your own business or looking at franchising. There's pros and cons to both. If you don't like following a system, you probably aren't too interested in franchising, because franchising is all about leaning into other people's business that they have built, learning from their mistakes, and then following a system to implement a business model. As far as a couple of questions to percolate and start thinking about if you're interested in business ownership, are you holding down a W-2 job and you really like it? Well, that's terrific. Maybe you want to look at semi-absentee or a business that is 10 to 20 hours a week. But there's no magic investment as far as going to be easy to just plug and play. There is work involved in starting any type of business, whether it's franchised or not. But some of the benefits of having a W-2 job: you have a steady salary, benefits, you know what to expect, you typically have responsibilities that you understand, but maybe you want more than a W-2 job. Maybe you want to invest in your future, create some additional financial security for your family. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably given some thought to what business ownership might look like for you. And so what are some of the most important considerations to thinking about a business? First off is, how much time do you have to commit to a business? Are you going to invest in a business that you're going to operate full time and leave a W-2 job that you currently hold? Or are you looking to ease into that business and perhaps continue to work a full-time job so you have that steady income, have the benefits, and then transition into your business full-time? I do find that people who jump feet first into business ownership tend to see success a little bit faster, because nobody is going to invest and care about your business more than you, who is making the financial commitment as well as the time commitment to your business. Certainly you can hire a general manager to operate a business for you. That does come at an additional expense. So anytime you're looking at maybe a semi-absentee business, always factor in a salary of a general manager. So as far as looking at your own experience, what are your strengths, and what are some of the things that really are very fun and interesting to you? Do you have sales management experience? Are you great at managing people? Do you love interacting with customers? Do you like to have a physical location to go to have your business, or do you prefer something that's home-based? So let's delve in a little bit deeper to each of those, because there's more than 3,000 franchise opportunities out there. And so it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first start looking at franchising. I represent about 800 of them in a little over 40 different industries. So we can certainly have a conversation to talk about your strengths, do a strength finder, and talk about what motivates you. I have many clients who are in sales roles. They're very good at interacting and communicating with customers and the public. And then I have clients who are very adverse to speaking with people and doing sales. So there's definitely fits for both types of clients that I work with, but we wouldn't want to find a heavy sales oriented type of business for somebody who doesn't like to do sales. Or we would talk about hiring that for that skill set in sales. But perhaps you've got a great HR and management background and you love managing people. That might be a good indicator for a type of business where you build a sales force or a team of caregivers that are going to interact and implement the services that you have with your business. Or perhaps, like when I first looked at franchising several years ago, I at first thought I wanted to manage a lot of people because I have a background of managing teams of 50 or more people. But as I delve a little bit deeper into it, I decided that I didn't really want to manage a lot of people, because managing people comes with a lot of responsibility. So I looked at businesses that had a smaller employee count, and those better aligned with what I was looking for in a business. Other things, what is important to you as far as your financial goals? Are you looking to replace your W-2 salary? I've chatted a couple of times on my podcast about clients who are looking to replace $100,000, a $200,000 or a $300,000 salary. That does take time. You can't open your doors and expect to replace a big six-figure income right away. But we can certainly look at scaling a big business with a large territory that gives you the best opportunity to replace that six-figure income. Perhaps also you are interested in benefits. There are a few of the franchise systems that offer employee and franchisee benefits. We can look specifically at those if that is important to you and to your family. Recurring revenue. Many of the franchises that I really like, that are really hot right now, have recurring predictable revenue models. They're membership models typically, so you know how much you're going to make on a monthly basis, and then you'll have other revenue streams that will complement your recurring revenue. And then other types of business opportunities are more, you have a relationship with a client, you provide a service, and then you rely heavily on their reviews of your business and what you provided them, and referrals and relationships to secure more sales or more revenues for that type of business. There's a lot of different opportunities that range in investment from $10,000 to over $1 million. So how much do you have to invest in a business? Cash liquidity is one of the first questions that I am going to ask you. How much money do you have set aside and feel comfortable investing in a business? Typically, I recommend you have about $50,000 or more to invest in a business. And then the rest of it, we can certainly talk about funding options through an SBA loan, a rollover for business startup, also known as a 401k rollover, a capital equipment loan for those trade types of franchises that offer some depreciable assets, and those capital equipment loans are great to cover things like vehicles and equipment for your business. So how much money do you have set aside? If you are looking at an SBA loan or a capital equipment loan, our funders are going to talk to you about your credit score. So keep that in mind. 700 or higher is typically best, but you do need to have a minimum credit score of 685 or higher to qualify for an SBA loan. Do you like managing people? I know I mentioned that a few minutes ago, but what kind of makes you tick and gets you going is mentoring a sales force or making an impact on the community. There's a couple of great master and area developer franchises where you own the rights to sell franchises in a large geographic area, and you're selling smaller or sub franchises to people who want to be business owners, but they're looking to a master or area developer to provide them guidance. I was chatting with a franchise earlier today about their master franchise opportunity, and with each of those master franchises, they have a franchisee who they charge $10,000 for each of those sub franchises. And the master franchisee example he gave me, the master had sold 92 franchises at $10,000 each. Well, do the math. That's a pretty good income. And then the master franchisee will continue to collect royalties from those franchisees in their particular market. So if you love mentoring people and sales and creating a big business empire, there's a few opportunities in that realm. So as far as what else to consider in looking at franchising, scalability and growth are other things. What is your end game? What is your why? And how big a business do you want to create? Are you wanting to invest in a business that you're hands-on and you're the boots on the ground implementing the services? Or would you prefer to hire somebody to do the boots on the ground types of implementation of the services for your business, and you're scaling a big business and a saleable asset? There's no right or wrong reason to or answer to either one of them, but those are questions that are just percolate in your head. Do you want to be an implementer, or do you want to manage the key performance indicators and create the vision and be the mayor of your town, building relationships with everyone you know? Be the one going to B&I meetings and joining the chamber, and everybody knows what you do and your big business. So you can certainly do that with a franchise. You can also do that if you decided to start your own business. So these are just thought starters that I wanted to share with you today. On my website at www.mintfranchiseconsultants.com, I do offer a RISE assessment. It is an entrepreneurial assessment with questions to answer about, is entrepreneurship a good fit for you? Does it align with your investment goals? Do you have family support for your business? So I'm going to go over a few of those questions. You can certainly go visit my website if you want to take a look and take the skills and entrepreneurial assessment on your own. But are you willing to roll up your sleeves and work 30, 40, 50 hours a week? Do you have family support in your business? Are you willing to take responsibility for not only your successes and achievements in business, but also learning opportunities or failures? I find that some of the best lessons that I have learned were the hardest. That's not always easy for me to admit, but sometimes I have made not great decisions, or I have stumbled or struggled. And so I learn from those mistakes. So in business, whether you're on your own or franchising, you are going to stumble. One of the beauties of franchising is somebody before you has stumbled and can share those experiences with you as an entrepreneur and business owner, and can share those experiences with you. Do you see the possibilities where other people see problems? Are you a problem solver or are you a whiner and going to complain every time something doesn't go your way? Personally, I like to work with problem solvers, people who are going to figure out a way through a problem or a situation rather than just complaining about things. Definitely there's opportunities and resources to collaborate with other CEOs or owners of businesses to help guide you through stumbling blocks, but it's much better to be part of a winning scenario and people who are collaborating to invest in solutions than just sit around and complain, in my opinion. Are you looking forward to creating some financial successes through business ownership? Is also another question that I ask. Do you tend to be curious and investigating and seeing how you can build and foster and grow a big business? Are you open to new discoveries? Do you believe that we create our own luck? I long ago heard a saying that the harder we work, the luckier we are. And so I believe that the harder that I work, the luckier I am. So do you share that similar philosophy with me? Do you get through difficult situations pretty easily? It's okay to pause or give some consideration to a difficult situation, but can you maneuver through difficult situations? Because every business owner is going to face difficult situations. Are you patient in working with others? Do you like managing teams? Do you prefer doing business to business sales, business to consumer sales, or something that doesn't require sales at all and more of maybe it's a technology type of franchise? So those are just a couple of the 38 questions that are on that RISE assessment at, again, www.mintfranchiseconsultants.com. Some other things that I like to talk to new business owners or prospective business owners. It's congratulations on taking that first step to exploring business ownership. But is your spouse and your family on your side? Have you talked to them about it? You'd be surprised at how many people just start exploring business ownership without talking to their spouse or loved ones about it. And then they get super excited and get to the end where they're ready to sign an agreement. And their spouse is like, oh, no, you don't. You're not going to spend our retirement on investing in a business. So I do encourage you to involve your family very early in the process in considering business ownership, because they have a vested interest just like you, and your spouse or loved ones or a friend are going to be trusted advisors. They're going to give you a very different perspective on building a big business and you investing in a business. Do keep in mind, though, that if you're talking to people who haven't invested in a business or they're not business owners currently, they may poke holes in your dreams to aspire to be a business owner. And that's okay. It's good to look at all sides of business ownership, the good and the bad, and make sure that you're making an informed decision. But it's also great to speak with people who have been business owners or have built big businesses, because they're going to give you a very different perspective and things to consider. I know when I had a client who was looking at a trade business, and she had a conversation with her accountant about an emerging brand that had about 2 years history in building that business. Her accountant said, I'm not sure. It's only been in business for a couple of years and they only have a couple of dozen franchisees. I'm not sure that I would invest in that. But you have to remember that all businesses, franchise businesses or otherwise, start with a single location and build from there. So looking at the experience of the franchisor is really critical to the success. And then also, most accountants or CPAs aren't building $1 million businesses. So if you want to build $1 million business, who are you talking to in your circle of trusted advisors to dream big and to look at that $1 million potential for a business? Also, what are your long-term goals? I like to look at exit strategy at the beginning. Most franchise agreements are for 10 years. Some are for 5, others are for 20 years. But what are your short-term and long-term plans for your business? Are you thinking your children might take over the business someday and run it and operate it when you're ready to retire? Are you creating a business that is going to be a saleable asset that is going to be your nest egg for your retirement? And what does retirement look like? Perhaps you're 40 or 50 and you feel like you have an additional 10 or 20 years of work to build a big business. That's terrific. But perhaps you have 5 years left and you're looking at a 10-year franchise agreement. That's okay. In those franchise agreements, it will address transfers or selling a business. So those are other opportunities that we'll learn through the process and discovery together as you're looking for those long-term solutions. There's a franchisee in Idaho who he purchased a lot of territory with a franchise system. He purchased the whole state of Idaho, built a big business, and now he's selling off pieces of that business and paring it down with the ultimate goal of selling that business that he created and reinvesting the money that he made through his first franchise and building a second franchise. And then he plans on stacking and adding a third franchise and so forth. So he's got definitely a growth and empire mindset. As he started his first franchise, is in the process of selling that and doing another business and then a third and a fourth business. So just points to ponder and think about. Also, a former neighbor of mine, she reached out to me. I hadn't seen her for a bit, and she had received a pretty large severance from her previous employer she'd worked for almost 30 years. And her tax person had said to her, you need some tax benefits. You need something that's going to be depreciable assets to offset some of the income that you made last year with your severance package. So she came to me. She doesn't really want to invest a lot of time or effort or resources into a business, but she wanted to take advantage of the tax deductibility of being a business owner. So we looked at some great business options that weren't franchises, and she is able to invest in vending machines and take those as a depreciable asset over the next 5 years against the income she's made. So all different great things to consider as you're looking at business ownership. This is probably a lot to digest in a very short period of time. Let's go ahead and schedule a call and chat more about your vision for business ownership, resources available, and explore and see if franchising might be a good avenue for you. I do also represent some business opportunities. They aren't franchises. The biggest difference for those business opportunities means that there's no franchise fee, there's no ongoing royalties or required national marketing ad spend, but you still do get support from those businesses. So, perhaps business ownership that's a non-franchise business is something you want to explore. And after we have our initial conversation or a couple of conversations, you may decide that, gosh, you have a great idea and you want to start a business from the ground up on your own. That's terrific. My role is to help you make an informed decision about business ownership. And if you're going to be joining the 3% of Americans who are small business owners or business owners, or if you are happy where you're at, or want to explore other opportunities, my services are always free to you, and I do make a commission from the franchises I represent. Should we find a good match, and I help you make an informed decision about investing in a franchise business. So again, please visit my website at www.mintfranchiseconsultants.com. I have a scheduling link on there and additional resources to help you explore business ownership through franchising. I appreciate you listening to today's podcast on Is Business Ownership Right for You? And I hope to connect with you if you want to learn more. Again, my name is Laura Rolfe, the host of Powered by Franchising.